While everyone's paying attention to the Fed funds rate and the alien disclosure, did JP Morgan just give us a glimpse into what a CBDC future might be like? Our business is stronger when our economy is more inclusive. So inclusivity means, what it should mean is to people should be able to join and leave a specific system whenever it is that they want, and there should be no censorship, and of course they shouldn't be penalized, based on their beliefs, their ethnicity or anything like that, right? That's what a truly inclusive system is, right? A system that doesn't censor people, and if you would like to voluntarily join or voluntarily leave, that is your choice and not the system's. Anyways, we're striving to advance economic inclusion around the world. I want you guys to think about that for a second. It's economic inclusion around the world, and our people drive our success. It is through their ingenuity, excellence, and integrity that we seek to build prosperous business. Indeed, indeed. So, look, these are all very fluffy words. They make me feel happy. They make you feel happy. I want to be a part of the banking system that makes me feel special. So as you could imagine, it must have been a huge surprise to Dr. Joseph Mercola when this happened. Chase Bank has shut down our business bank accounts along with the accounts of my CEO and CFO, as well as their family members, including spouse and children. They've refused to provide any reason for doing so. The oldest account has been active for 18 years. Fuck your loyalty, okay? Nobody cares. You say the wrong thing, you have a bank account in the wrong bank, and now you are starving and broke. Welcome to JP Morgan's form of inclusion. Oh, this sounds so good. All right, let's dive into this story because it's pretty bad. Employees of a Florida-based retail health company, said JP Morgan Chase, suddenly terminated their personal and company bank accounts without an explanation. So keep in mind, it's not just the company, it's the employees that work for this company as well. One of the employees believed the account shutdowns were politically motivated and due to their employer's controversial stance on the virus that which shall not be named. Another employee said the sudden decision to close her account is creating additional hurdles to help send money to her husband, who is bedridden with dementia in the Philippines. On July 13th, Mercola Market, along with the CEO, CFO, and some of their family members all received similar letters from Chase Bank saying they have decided to close their individual personal and business accounts. A voicemail from a Chase representative to CEO Stephen Rye said the reason for closing his personal and wife's accounts can't be disclosed for legal reasons. And unfortunately, this is something I've said in the past. You only find out that you are asking for permission when this type of stuff happens, okay? So it's not going to be this like fluffy, super easy situation for you to maneuver out of. You are going to get screwed like this. This is what happens. This is when you find out you are asking for permission to use your own money. The time that you spent working that you are never going to get back. You've now converted it to money that you are asking for permission to use. Okay? This is disgusting shit. No one should be treated like this. No one should be our overlords, okay? That's your time. You converted it into money. You should be able to use it and spend it and not ask for permission. Okay, anyways, we know the whole thing. Okay. It's just hard to believe that your family, your wife, your kids can't have a bank account because of the opinions of your employer, and they've never done anything wrong. We all have completely clear records. These people don't even have criminal records. Now, again, I'm not even going to get into the whole thing about crime because that's a whole other freaking problem, okay? But the point is that according to the legal system, which all of us are supposed to abide by, these people don't have a criminal record, and they haven't done any illegal transactions. Why would your accounts be closed? A voicemail from Chase Bank representative urged Rye to submit paperwork for their accounts to be reconsidered. That's right. That's right, Surf. You can request us to reopen your accounts. That's our money. And you're asking for permission. This is nuts. We're going to try because you're a good client of our institution, the Chase representative said in a voicemail. Amalia Legaspi, the CFO of Mercola Market, said both her personal and her son's personal accounts were canceled. Her son was into some crazy shit if they canceled his account. Oh, her son is using the accounts to pay for college expenses. Nothing but criminals. Nothing but criminals. Here's a tweet from at Liberty Lockdown, which also does a podcast. Let's take a look at this. Earlier this year, during the banking crisis, the Federal Reserve established a bank term funding program. Do you guys remember this, right? When all of this this craziness happened with Signature Bank, SVB, right? All of these quote unquote crypto institutions, so to speak. Okay, so there was this program that was instituted, okay, to essentially help calm the markets, the BTFB, to offer loans of up to 1 year to eligible depository institutions that were in crisis. This is the key, guys. No explicit capital thresholds were given, but the bar by which eligibility was established appears to be 200 billion plus. Now, let's be honest, right? What banks are going to qualify for this? We know it's going to be the big banks, right? In other words, small regional banks will not qualify. This means that your deposits over 250K will not be insured at the smaller banks. So obviously, what does that do? High net worth individuals who do keep a sizable amount of money in the banks, if they do have a regional bank, they are going to go now and they are going to move those funds to the larger institution that can insure them and now take away the business from the smaller bank, which may and most likely did not have an issue securing their funds, but unfortunately, they won't meet that threshold, right, for the 200 billion plus, and therefore will not be FDIC insured into perpetuity. I am of the opinion that this capital threshold was no accident. Debanking is a major tool in implementing a social credit system. Indeed it is, and we're going to dive into that after this. The Fed wants you forced into larger bank institutions because the federal government wants you scared into silence, just as we saw with the Canadian trucker convoy last year. Banking behemoths like JP Morgan Chase are now essentially backstopped in full by the government. This means that they are guaranteed ultimately by your tax dollars. There's been a lot of back and forth about a CBDC, right? The FedNow system, it's not a CBDC. But I do believe, and this is what I said in previous clips, I do believe that the FedNow network is introducing the rails for a CBDC. Now, the other piece to this, I also believe, which, hey, we're going to find out if I'm right or wrong. Right? Time will tell. But essentially, the major banks are now an arm, a financial policing arm of the government. Now, granted, they've always been this to a certain extent, but now they're given even more power, right? Because by creating this BTFP program, they essentially made it. What that tells the market is, hey, you want to be safe? You want to make sure that you're not going to lose your money? You need to move your funds to the big banks, the banks that are backstopped by the government. I mean, that's a pretty good pitch for a high net worth individual, right? That's a pretty good pitch. Like, okay, well, you sold me. I can't leave my money here where it is now. And what do we suppose happens to these smaller banks when these high net worth individuals take out their money, right? Those banks all of a sudden become less resilient because keep in mind, when you keep your funds in a bank, your funds become part of the bank's assets. And as a result, the bank is now able to create more financial economic activity based on your deposits. Now, granted, they can't actually, well, they're not supposed to be able to use your deposits. Okay. They are not. But it does help them leverage. It helps them leverage. Look at all the money that we control and we secure. So to another institution that's possibly wanting to do business with them, that helps. It's all about perception. Okay, so what perception are we going to have of these smaller banks? They can't be trusted. You can't leave big amounts of money there. So what type of individuals are going to be left in those banks? You're going to have people with a lot less money in those banks. And so as a result, that may create the perception that these banks are significantly less resilient than their larger government aided competition. It's a very slippery slope. I do think that this is a step in the wrong direction. I mean, I think all Bitcoiners or most Bitcoiners would think that this is a step in the wrong direction. But at the same time, we can also argue this. The introduction of the eventual CBDC may and most likely will provide a lot of attention to Bitcoin. Because right now with the way that our system works, you're essentially you're comparing, we're comparing cash to Bitcoin. But once the government starts implementing a CBDC and people can clearly see the major differences between a transparent ledger that cannot be controlled or censored by the government versus your bank accounts being completely closed down and now all of a sudden you can't help your father pay for his medical expenses across the world, yeah, that's going to become painfully apparent. It's going to become apparent. And hopefully, more people are going to open their eyes and recognize that Bitcoin is the only true solution. Anyways, JP Morgan, you are not inclusive. You are part of the problem, and you are simply just trying to maintain your moat. Anyways, guys, that is the end of our clip today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Help us fight the evil YouTube algorithm. And I will catch you all tomorrow.